Hi everyone, what's brewing today? Welcome back to iMocha Skills Intelligence podcast, where we deep dive into workforce transformation, innovation in skills intelligence, talent intelligence, and innovation in talent strategies. Topic for today's podcast is bridging the skill gap, strategies for success. In this episode, we'll speak about practical strategies for bridging the skill gap in the today's workforce. The discussion will be focused on identifying skills gap, implementing effective training programs, and leveraging technology to ensure continuous skill development. Today we have Sumit Sabharwal. Sumit is the VP and Head of HR Shared Services for Fujitsu International Regions. He leads HR transformation across multiple countries, supporting 40,000 plus employees. He's a LinkedIn top voice and winner of Business World 40 Under 40 award. Sumit is a sought after speaker and well known media personality, known for his authentic leadership style. Over to Sumit to introduce himself and his work and journey in this space. Grab a coffee of your own Muka and let's get started. Over to you, Sumit.
Thank you, Amit, and thank you for inviting me to this great podcast. I'm actually a big fan of the podcasts that you guys run, and at times I find them very intriguing. Just as a part of my introduction, I've spent quite a bit of time in the HR industry for about 20 plus years. Uh, this is, I call, my third leg of work experience. I started with Center of Excellence, leading large transformation L&D projects, then moved into line HR, leading multiple geographies as a head of HR, and then shared services, which is quite interesting, which is supposed to be the backbone, but very essential part of the team. So finishing a whole Ulrich model from an HR operating model perspective. Uh, the topic that we're typically talking about is very interesting, very close to my heart. I think it's the need of the hour and also brings in a very open discussion around on what's working and what's not working. So I'm pretty excited to have a dialogue with you, and I'm sure there's a lot that I'm going to learn from you, Amit, and happy to share whatever we are going in our space around on skills and development. So good to be on the podcast.
Yes, and Sumit, like HR, and you have wear multiple roles over a period of time, managing the expectation of business and at the same time keeping employees engaged, growing is a task in itself. And they have their own interest and aspiration, and at the same time, you need to manage for it to align to the business. So it's a journey. Always you need to be on your toes, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I would not see a role of human resources largely just with either employees. I mean, for different decades, we've been a personnel department. We have been a facilitator. We have been an enabler. Sometimes we expected to have geometrical hand designs to do rangoli. So we have facets of life that people expect us to do. But yes, with the changing landscape with businesses, with industry, I think we play today a very strategic role in making sure that we are able to respond to our employees as well as to our business needs simultaneously. So I think our roles have evolved, and I think we do bring in the forefront of our roles. What are the mandates of business, and how do we kind of make it fulfill, keeping in mind that aspirations of individuals are taken into account. So yeah, it is a challenging role, but just like any other role, all roles are challenging. But specifically with us, we do keep an eye on the moving bits around in the industry, and hence a conversation like this is always intriguing to learn something from you, Amit, as well as to share.
Yeah, yeah. So, Sumit, like, just to start with, like, skills are changing faster than ever. So it has become like a mobile. Either a new version will come or altogether technology will change every now and then. Okay. So in this fast skill changing era, what are the most common skill gap you observe in today's workforce? And AI must have added a lot of newer skills into the race. So what do you find? Is it technical skills? Is it cloud, machine learning? Is it uh, power skills, communication skills? So what are the most common skill gaps you observe in today's workforce?
Yeah, no, look, it's slightly industry agnostic to be very honest, Amit, but I'm going to stick to the industry that I belong to. Definitely, you're dealing in different landscape. You will talk to some individuals who would probably say, um, at a very macro level. I mean, I don't specifically want to call out a consulting company, but it's pretty much open in the public space that close to about 70% of the executives at the CXO level or the companies are saying that there is a huge skill gap or skill deficit with the generations or the workforce we currently have. And this is predominantly on an area of AI that we are seeing and a couple of technologies that you've just outlined. So there is 70% is a huge number that we are typically looking at. Another aspect of it is while technology is one gap, still another study presents, which I think is by Deloitte, which says 40% of people are still away from soft skill. So while technology plays an important role, even the soft skills plays an important role in terms of articulation. So while technology can give you an outcome, maybe in an analytics, but are you good enough to story tell and package it together? The best of the roles today in the market, you see somebody who could speak analytics and can do a good storytelling. So that's an answer to your question, that's the kind of perfect fit we are looking in everybody. But yes, the gaps are industry agnostic, but largely the space that we are talking about, it is absolutely changing my months. So just like, I mean, mobile, I still will change it after a year or 2 years, but this is all about subscription. The way things are today is bi-monthly. So I probably like this platform. If the experience is not good of this platform, I'm going to move to another subscription. So I think you've been very humble to kind of say mobile. I'm going to slightly go a step further and will say it's a monthly subscription that we're dealing with.
Oh, okay. So it's a very challenging task then, because it's not static. Even skills gaps are not static. What you found out this quarter or in first part of the year may change, and what business requirements are may change. So you always need to align for the future of work even for those roles, right?
Absolutely. I mean, today, look, there was a time when, I mean, we would spend about a year to kind of run a performance management system, identify an IDP, individual development plan, do a skill assessment mapping or a competency framework mapping, figure out the gap of a technical, behavioral, and then kind of do a kind of a heat map in terms of what trainings we need to run. And that's how typically a training and development calendar would run. Then came more of skill inventory, where the skill inventories were all put together, and we did algorithms around on making it faster. So technology did support. Now today we are talking about a point that somebody's kind of learning something in the morning, and by evening he's acquiring a skill and he wants to kind of put that skill up, and we needs to be captured, and that's more of a validation as well as at the same time for that particular individual. It is also about the fact that it's a thumbs up. So are our tools ready to kind of capture that skill and then comprehensively make it to a point that at a dashboard level we can see that and we say, oh, somebody kind of got a Tableau skill today, somebody got an AWS skill today that we typically are looking at. So I think technology has been on the forefront of supporting us, but with the speed that people are kind of moving, as I say, on skills, it's becoming quite interesting that bringing that all into an ecosystem, making a sense, is a potential challenge I see. I hope I make sense to you on
Yeah.
that one.
So Sumit, like nowadays, a lot of learning is happening in the flow of the work. Okay, and definitely a lot of learning happen outside the flow of work, like having certifications, having training programs, right? But many things a person learn while coding. So in this scenario where learning is happening in the flow of the work, how do you identify the skill gap and address this? Because previously it was, as you said, finding out a person like their IDP for a year and fulfilling it. But nowadays it is so dynamic that they might be learning on social media, they might be learning on YouTube, Udemy, or anything else, right? And they might be applying it on the job. So how, so with the talent leader, it must be challenging to identify what are the skill gaps now and address those. So what are the measures you have taken? Maybe if you can shed some light, would be great for listeners.
Yeah, yeah. So first, it's interesting is uh, we should stop chasing employees for their skills. We should create that pull. So just like, yeah, look, my pretty much background is learning and development. So we always have this thought around on development is a part of a pull or a push. How do we kind of run it? So some of these expertise we brought into our current ecosystem, where the fundamental design principle that Amit it works is, can we bring an employee and ask him or her to kind of update skills? Because chasing consumes time,
Yeah.
follow-ups consume time. So I think that's not a great proposition. So while designing a system in a way that skills are rightly captured as well as it is being communicated and articulated, we need to put the mechanism of how employees are feeling that the system is gamified in a way that they can come and update their skills. Uh, and some of them need an instant recognition. Some of these platforms like LinkedIn and all, you probably would see the minute a skill has been completed, you will see stars flying all over the place. There is an kind of an happy dopamine effect which comes into it. So yeah, our organizations first creating the whiff what is in for me that I should go and update my skill. And erstwhile, people only used to apply skill, update skills is because they used to apply for another job within the company.
Yeah.
Right. So that's one reason why people will come and update the skill. The second reason that they want to kind of update the skills could be what you need to create. Can you create a marketplace where people can exchange ideas, can learn before doing a certification, kind of do a smaller course on Udemy and then kind of say, is it worth going for a PMP or not? So you need to create that full. So that's fundamental point number one. And again, these attributes that I'm telling you has to be designed into a system. You can pick up a system like a Palantir or an iMocha or to any of these systems around the world. I mean, they all are great systems, but I'm kind of saying that, are you creating that pull for that individual? And then the second point is that once the skills are being uploaded, what taxonomy are you dealing with? Because SAP can have 200 taxonomy that you and me can deal with.
Yeah.
What is organization looking for? And what is exactly that the employee is aspiring. And typically, if you don't see that skill over there, you're demotivated in a way. So we have to real time take care of the pull, updating the taxonomy. And the third most important thing that I will tell you, Amit, that we typically deal into a scenario like this is how do we make it sure that people, when they kind of get the skills, are matching to our customer requirement? Because customers may still be working on a very legacy system. They may not require that kind of a skill, but we still need to kind of marry a left hand to a right hand. So I think three attributes go into designing a system. At Fujitsu, we have done a fairly good job in terms of making it sure that we don't spend quite a bit of time doing follow-ups. I think we've created an ecosystem where people take responsibility uh, for their skills. They take responsibility to timely update. It's not a gun on their head saying that you need to typically keep on doing that every 3 months. So I think we have baselined that. And I think now what we really are kind of looking at is an aspiration of four different generations that we are dealing with, from Gen Zs to baby boomers, and then kind of what our business case is. So yeah, I would say we're not 100% on the journey, but we are at least moving on the right path where we're making the left hand talk to the right hand.
Right, right. So, Sumit, like in this journey, like you need to manage the interest and aspiration on an employee, and at the same time, you need to align with the business, right? So, previously it used to happen with a job-based architecture. Now, like organization have moved to a skills-based architecture. So, is it skill-based architecture or going skill first is helping you in this journey because job were rigid, right, and were not transferable. So, is becoming a skill-based helping you in managing the interest and aspiration of an employee and connecting it with the business needs?
Huh. So again, Amit, look, we all get very excited with sexy new terminologies around the world. We will call it skill-based mindset. Skill is the next big thing. And again, I'm not averse to it, but at the same time, so for me, my position will not be that job-based is rigid and skill-based is the new sexy thing that we need to talk about. For me, it's a balance. Because in an organization, what is also important is that an employee needs to understand the job he or needs to deliver. Because at the end of the day, we all work for our performance to get evaluated on certain criterias, KPIs, KRAs that we are doing. So while it may kind of be a future where we are very skill-based, but the reality of it is, and you and I would know that a lot of organizations may kind of say we are inclined towards skill based, but still their architecture is role
Yep.
based or job based. And a very simple parallel to this would be, Amit, is performance management. Companies have come and gone saying, oh, we've taken away the rating scales and it is all transparent and fair. Somewhere behind the scenes, they all are stack ranking because their reward systems are attached. So let's not fool ourselves by by just saying that this is the new shiny toy and everything else that we've been doing, because organizations of a scale, large scale, are built up on some design principles which I think are robust. But yes, they need to be challenged at different times, and skill based is the right approach for it. Now, in terms of maturity, again, I would say organizations like iMocha, when you talk about skill-based mindsets, when we speak at various forums, it is a good trigger point for executives like us, professionals like us to think, because we need to come out of that role-based mindset and kind of look at something new. So yes, skill-based is important. It plays a very significant role because skills are changing very fast. The customers are demanding different skills at different point of time. They want a combination of an X skill with a Y skill situated in Indore, working 24/7, uh, all sorts of dimension. Look, also when you capture skills or you talk about skills mindset, one of the things that we kind of expose ourselves is you're kind of giving people a Lego board and a lot of Legos and saying, just make whatever human being you want to make, and they're going to put different Legos and you may not have the same human being. So we have to be careful with that also. But yes, I would echo with you that skill based mindset is the next big thing. I think organizations need to bring in the forefront of skills. The job descriptions have to be very skill agnostic, and they need to speak into that language where skills plays a primary role. And as a matter of fact, I'll go a step further. Even the rewards and policies have to be aligned to that.
Yeah. So Sumit, you really made a like very good point. So organization of like 100,000 plus people and this kind of thing. You are very right here. What we are observing that the smaller companies, mid-segment companies adopting a new thing takes like easily, but an elephant like Fujitsu to adopt and having a golden mix of job-based, role-based plus skill-based is a key. And this is what we are observing from our big enterprise customer. And you really made it very right way and aggressively that it's a shiny toy. You need to adopt it, but at the same time, you need to make sure that business goes on and there is a legacy and there is a lot of efforts put in over a period of years in competency, in role based. Good. And Sumit, what did you observe? Like having a organization culture of continuous learning, is it playing a big role in bridging the skill gap, identifying the skill gaps, and as a HR, apart from having transaction and like only thing, you need to put a lot of efforts on culture. As you say, you have taken a pull methodology and reward system to make that happen. So how culture of continuous learning is playing a role in this?
Yeah, yeah. And fundamentally, organizations like Fujitsu are pretty good at it. We are good at change management. We are good at ensuring that the culture is an amalgamation of various diverse views, inclusive views of not just individuals at certain level, but across the organization. So I think it helps us quite in that particular roadmap. Look, we also need to understand that we are quite a progressive organization, which focus a lot on what's the new innovation technology coming, and we make it quite open for our employees because we're truly global. One of the things that I think what organizations from a culture perspective have to build in, and again, it's a very general view that I have on this topic, is adaptability. I think some organizations do kind of think we operate in a certain way. This is our niche. We want to focus on this, which is great. But the workforce that you're working on may not be completely aligned to your purpose. So the purpose of the organization to the purpose of individuals is evolved. Gone are the days when you would have walk into the organization, say, these are the 5 values of the company, and we all, every presentation have 5 values. How many times we see that presentation nowadays? I don't think so. We see a lot of it. What we see a lot of conversations around driven around the purpose of the organization, which makes much more sense, which is, to me, gives a broader perspective for people to connect. So hence, for me, if the purpose of the organization is to help sustain the society, like for Fujitsu, at the same time, make it sure that we are able to value add to your well-being and to your life, it plays a beautiful combination of continuous improvement, because every day you are improving yourself, and that's the way I would put my narrative, saying that I want my employee to get up in the morning and say, what can I do to be a better Sumit today? I shouldn't be like a better than Amit. I should be better than yesterday's Sumit. And when you have that mindset built in, then you kind of go and see, what do I need to learn more or unlearn to learn more, because there's also saturation. So continuous improvement is also being taught by us by saying that let go of few things, unlearn few things, so that you've got enough with you to learn more. And that's how you create capacity. And that's how then platforms like yours and the partners that we work with, whether it's LinkedIn, Udemy's and all, play a role for people to pick up whatever, wherever they feel appropriate to learn. Because I think it's a quite a democratic way of nowadays for people to pick up their choice of courses. So yeah, that is there. And that's how continuous learning plays a significant role for us in the overall culture.
And Sumit, like, how are you leveraging this HR technology in skill development of your organization and connecting it with the business technologies? Like maybe it might be CRMs, it might be project management systems. So how you are leveraging technology and making it integrated, because talent is the core for any consulting organization, right? And many a time it happened that in the past HR and business system has worked in silos, and there are some challenges in between. So how are you leveraging this technology? I'm sure that Fujitsu has solved this problem. And in fact, newer and newer AI tools are coming in, which are the point solution in between. So how have you leveraged this technology?
Yeah, again, we do work with some partners. But for me, I'm going to answer this question at a very fundamental level for you. I mean, connecting inbound, outbound, all that can work through an integration and technology, because it's easy to find great AI bespoke tools in the market. But the problem is, how do you connect first of all, how do you get a single source of data?
Right.
Second, how do you flow that data? And three, how do you connect it back through an API into another system, which becomes an integration and becomes either a cost or a bigger challenge to kind of move. So I'm not going to go into those nitty-gritties, but those are challenges, and we still should call out, because everything should not be seen as hunky-dory, perfectly working in the world. I think at a very fundamental level, Amit, for us, having the right taxonomy is important. And every 3 months, we need to relook at it. And that's the way. Gone are the days when you would run a performance management and IDPs, which are a year long. Similarly, if you want to kind of look at skills, you need to have update that. So make sure that you're synced up on the certifications, the accreditations, and the skills. And somebody's watching. I would probably say there needs to be a team which is watching into the internet and seeing what we need to add every week. So I think that's one part of it. Second part of it, make it very sure that this is aligned with business roles that we are looking at. What kind of people we are hiring? I can have 400 skills, but I'm still hiring for 20 skills. Keeping 400 will then kind of do what? Nothing for me. So does my business skills that I need are captured there? And is that there? And again, I'm trying to explain you the workflow, because if a requirement gets open, if a certain business skills are there, if people are updating, we will be able to marry a left hand to a right hand at the first go. If we don't find it, then we go externally, and then we kind of look for the right fit, and we come back. So I think for me, fundamentally, that is the workflow that has to work. The taxonomy, the business requirement, and between this, a resource management and the external hiring team has to continuously talk. A great organization to be onboarded for our iMocha would be where you have the workforce management team and the talent acquisition team and business team sitting next to you and saying, yes, these are my primary skills. These are my new technology skills, and these are vanilla skills, clearly articulate, and every 3 months, refresh it. If you fit that, I'm telling you, you would have not much challenge to drive adoption, because challenge in these kind of cases are adoption.
Yeah. So like you said that up-to-date skill taxonomy, quality supply data, in terms of skill validated, and having the right business need and integration of this three will help. And Sumit, like keeping it updated from validating it, like we have seen apart from traditional methods of like having skill assessment and certification, nowadays a lot of AI inferences for skills by connecting to project systems and reading the certification has also added to it. Good. So Sumit,
But can I just add one thought? And again, probably in completeness of conversation, you should not feel that I'm very foundationally speaking to you on. I'm speaking foundational because I think foundation is important. In all these talks and podcasts, what we typically do, we talk very fluffy at times and leave
yeah,
it there, and people are then kind of thinking at practical level. The world is very different, Sumit, than what we kind of see. Um, I'm definitely taking into account, Amit, that on top of it, a good AI or an algorithm that will run to kind of make it sure that if an individual is particularly uploading a skill, should be able to identify this person maybe at a rookie level, this person maybe at a middle level, or an expert level on the skill. Things like this person is parameters like who's regularly updating skills. If employee is an instance for me, who's regularly updating the skill, what kind of skills that he's focusing on, is he at what level? Eventually, if that kind of people leave, we should also have in a skill a tick box which says this person is an attrition, because tomorrow you should know that all the people that you're training on service now are leaving Fujitsu. So your taxonomy should also kind of give that when a particular person goes beyond a certain skills, it could be a flight risk. Now, from an HR point of view, these all things are little add-on, but actually really helps to see whether we are kind of doing a disservice to ourselves or we are doing a service. And again, that is very easy for an AI to do in terms of looking at the large models and then kind of give predictions. So I'm not getting into those things because for me, it's given. From
yeah,
that AI perspective, it's given. I want to make it sure that the foundation is strong. And then on top of it, whatever your business requirements are, because business may come back and say, look, great, I want to implement this skill tool, but you tell me whether this person will stay in the company or not after acquiring the skill. Where will you get that answer?
correct.
And that's the next question that we will have. So whoever is developing the skill-based framework has to start thinking from that mindset.
Right, got it, got it. And Sumit, last question from my side is like, see, traditionally, whenever there is some demand, it used to be like fulfilled by either redeploying the available talent, okay, or building it if there is a marginal brush off or some kind of L&D program needs to be run, or you need to buy it from the market. So in the recent in the recent past in 2 years, did this equation change? Like because we have seen that previously there used to be a lot of hiring, okay, that has gone down a bit. So build, buy versus redeploy. So which are the organization priorities now, and does that equation change? Did
Yeah,
you observe anything there?
yeah. Definitely. Look, 2020, 21 post-COVID, 22, people were look, a lot of hiring was done. And again, hiring was done largely to keep in mind the potential business. And of course, we have seen the data speaks that business has actually grown in a lot of the sector that I belong. So a lot of hiring was done. I think end of 2022, 23 was more of correction for me, where I mean, we've seen articles on Money Control where a DevOps person is paid 1.2 crores. I mean, as salary. So I mean, and I've spoken at forums, so I kind of said that's the kind of supply demand issues we get into ourselves. So I think there was a phase when people were given money which you can't even imagine. Then came a bit of a correction phase. So buy and then deploy was I think the need of the hour. I think pretty much mid of 2023 onwards, I've kind of seen a kind of maturity coming in the systems. Again, a lot more is because of technology and then the enhancements of AI that we have seen that these maturities are coming in the system. Now we see uh, a pretty stable organizations really have strong cadence and mandate saying that if we really want to go out and hire, why do we do that? If 90-day period is largely when people are even kind of serving a notice period, can't we train people in 90 days and redeploy? Technology is something, courses are like to be learned in a week. What are we talking about? It's not for about a year that we are sitting onto it. So there is an opportunity, Amit. And companies are definitely looking at first redeploying people on bench or redeploying people who have worked certain number of years and want to rotate. So yes, you will definitely not see that kind of a crazy surge in the market. But yeah, again, companies have again demand and supply. Some of them may completely contradict to what I'm saying, but largely the organizations that I speak to, they are matured enough and they have strong interlocking between workforce management and the learning and development function.
Yeah. And Sumit, like you have been supporting 40,000 plus employees, okay, and still, I said in the second decade of your career. So, what's the success mantra you would like to share with the talent leaders in current
Yeah,
scenario?
yeah.
You
I
are
mean,
your success mantra. It might be different for different people.
yeah, I think pretty much hopefully I've demonstrated through the whole podcast my success mantra. Be very authentic. Call a spade a spade. We all live in we've all created a a Lululand for ourselves and a beautiful Alice in Wonderland for ourselves with all the love and affection that we get from social media. But reality of it is, as much as we keep our conversations grounded, to the point, authentic, I think it does better connection. And when you are clear with that kind of a thought process, you're able to kind of progress further, whether even if it is a baby step. So I think for me, Amit, mantra has been keep the conversations authentic, call a spade, and then collaborate and see what can be next done. So one step at a time, not a leapfrog.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sumit, for being on the podcast with iMocha, and thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Nice
Thank you
meeting
for
you.
inviting
Yeah,
me.
thanks.